job, good agents. We got a whole mess load of us today. Long, thanks for joining us a little bit there. Nice, thank you. Mike's not on. We're going to get right into it. We are introducing TrueAI, and the idea came from a few of us just sitting down and talking to each other and seeing what the industry was missing, and it came to us really quickly, and that's the long-term nurture without you having to do it for yourselves or your team members having to jump in and doing it. See, the difference is this here, artificial intelligence is going to do all the heavy lifting for you. And everything you've seen out there doing that right now in our world isn't artificial intelligence. That's where we come in. So imagine this, and then I'll take it over here to Nick, to Brandon, and to Spencer. And that's this. Imagine you have a list of past clients or a list of your sphere that's 100, 200, 300 people long. And you want to upload them into a system so that the system takes care of them for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Because, you know, we drop the ball sometimes. Well, this is that system. The system will nurture them and love them and act like you and learn as they engage through machine learning. That's the difference. This is the power of what we've created here, and it's in beta. So, Nick, what do you think, man, when we talked about this, creating this thing with Spencer and Brandon and everybody else here?
Yeah, you know, so I felt like, so when you talk to any agent and you ask them where the main source of their business comes from, sure, big teams will obviously invest in online lead generation and that whole speed to lead, and that's really, really important to nurture new business. But for me personally, and I think a lot of agents out there, I think more than 50% of agents who are doing business these days are getting business from their sphere of influence. And who's nurturing that? Like, it's almost impossible to keep up with an entire database of clients if you sold hundreds of homes over the years, because that's your bread and butter, right? So you need to be on top of that, and that's where agents drop the ball. So they say, like, you know, more than 70% of homeowners, this is what NAR said, don't quote me on the exact number, but I feel like it's over 70%, say that they will use the agent again, but then it's something like 20% can't even remember their agent's name, right? So it's like, it's true. Yeah, I would use that guy if I could only remember his name. Oh, well, I can't. I'll just call the other guy. So who's going to, right? Because if you have a big business and you have hundreds of past clients and hundreds of past sales, you know, you would literally be sitting down all day, every day, making calls, and nobody wants to do that. So you need to leverage it out. And you and I are always about leverage being the new hustle.
Yeah. Well, the key to this is that it's not going to replace a CRM for you. It's just a lead engagement platform that uses artificial intelligence to nurture every type of lead that you can imagine, from open houses to online leads, realtor.com, Zillow, Google, Facebook, Sphere, past clients, everyone. And I mean, the brains behind creating it was Spencer and Brandon here. They just took our idea and said, yeah, we can do it. So
we just took our idea and stole it. No, I'm kidding. Can you do, Tristan, explain to everyone watching, because you're such a wordsmith, the difference between true and fake AI. We see Jesse down there. He's clearly fake, but all the rest of us are true. So what is the true AI and what is the fake AI? What's the real difference what are we used to today that we think is actual real AI?
We're used to automation. Automation that just grabs a keyword here and there and has maybe one or two set of responses that it'll use just based on what you've already created or what somebody else has created there. Now, the difference between real artificial intelligence is, think of human intelligence, right? As we have experiences as humans, we learn from them, and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to touch that fire because it was hot. That's human intelligence, right? Or I interacted with Long, and you know, he's a pleasant guy, but when I said, damn, you look ugly, the response wasn't good, right? So I'm not going to use that response again. That's human intelligence. Now, Artificial intelligence uses machine learning in the same way. As it collects all this data, it starts saying, well, you know what? This response based on these other 1,000 responses looks like it's going to get me the best response. So I'm going to use that one. And it relies on all of the data it has. So that's what we call machine learning. That's what we're using. Spencer, did I get that wrong?
No, I think you got it 100% right. The key
Perfect.
distinction and kind of what you're talking about is there's a concept called natural language processing in the world of software. And the idea behind it is to process language, right? So you have a big text snippet and it's going to try to basically identify certain keywords, maybe extract certain words as well. But really what it's doing is it's doing just that. It's not trying to match patterns. It's not trying to understand what's actually going on. And that's what's really this whole world of AI, and as it relates to kind of engaging with people in a conversational form, has changed in the past year or two. It's changed to what we would call natural language understanding. And that's what TrueAI is going to be built on top of. It's this idea of, when people are responding to you, when you're trying to qualify them as a lead or engage with past clients or your sphere, we're trying to understand what is it that they're asking? What is it that they want? What tone are they taking with this? Are they excited? Are they not excited? And so we're using very complex sort of deep learning to power this whole system that is going to learn and be able to identify these patterns to better engage with your sphere and your leads and everything like that. And so that's sort of the gist from a technical perspective of what we're doing. And the coolest part is sort of what Tristan and Nick were saying is, this system is built in a way that it's going to learn quickly. So if for whatever reason someone throws some crazy response, or I think there's a lot of people that say the best way to trick a chatbot is to say, I'm not uninterested, right? Because, and that is a prime example of where a natural language processing model fails, because it sees not and it says he's uninterested, and it says, all right, this person is definitely a no, right? We're going to categorize them as stop talking to this person. Natural language understanding has the capacity to over time learn and figure out, oh, I'm not uninterested. Actually, that's probably a pretty good lead. And we're going to rank it as such. And so that's the big distinction. And we're really excited to be bringing this into the real estate world with you guys.
And Brandon, thank you, Spencer. Brandon, when it comes to data, can you explain how that works? I mean, where are we gathering all the data from so that it makes smarter choices?
Yeah, of course. So the data that we already have is quite vast. So we understand what we call them our intents. And intent is pretty much what information or what piece of data are they trying to receive in response to what we're asking. So we already have vast amounts of data, but as the system continues to work and as we continue to test the models and send these models out to the people that we're partnered with, they send them out to their people. And of course, with anything anytime anybody knows something's a chatbot, they're going to throw the most random things they possibly can. Just like Spencer's example, it's literally gathering all of this information, and as it begins to learn, it creates more data that it uses when somebody responds in a similar manner. So all of the data that we have and all the data that we collect as these conversations continue to progress are going to only make the platform stronger.
Makes sense. Brian, what do you think? How do you think this will change the industry as a whole with what we've created here?
As we talk about this, and there's people watching this who have a 10-person database, or people like you and I that have 50, 100,000 person databases. And I don't care if you're one of those people who has a 50 or you have 100,000. Every person I've ever talked to in real estate said their number one failure was the failure to follow up, right? There's not a single person who said that, if I just follow up worse, that's the only thing I'm doing wrong. So this is really what we're doing as you build these databases. And I don't have the exact statistics, but it's about 10 to 1. For every lead that's generated, for every 10 leads generated in real estate, there's approximately 1 closing, which means that there's 9 non-closings. And that's a big, big number. So what we're looking at is, what are we doing with those other 9 people? Because all of us are buying online leads, whether we're doing them through Facebook, SEO, Realtor.com, Zillow, whatever it is. I heard Chris Smith say this: every person who's a lead today is an online lead. And that's really true. It may not start that way. That may be a referral, but guess what? They're still looking online. So if we're not have a system that follows up with those people and touches them every once in a while, whether that's a lead or whether that's a past client, I love Nick's bringing up. I heard something like 82% of people will continue to would be happy to work with the same realtor, but 8% do. And again, whether that's, whatever percentage that is, we need to be touching these people. We need the people to think we didn't forget about them. And magnets on refrigerators don't work in 2020. Calendars don't work in 2020. We have to have something where we're constantly reaching out, touching them, letting them know that we care. And when we do that overly automated, which is the process we have now, they're like, oh, it's just another bot. It's just someone sending me an email. It doesn't feel real. And I feel like the research that I've done with Brandon and Spencer on this is going to feel real. And I'm not saying that someone won't eventually figure out that it might be a bot, but it feels like a human being and it feels like we care. And no one gives a flip. If you don't show them you care about them, they're not going to care about you. So that's where I see this TrueAI going.
Here's sorry. Go ahead.
What I'll add to that really quickly is all of us have these really complex, databases, IDX feeds, CRMs that manage this. And I can't tell you how many times, and I mean, to follow up appropriately. I mean, I think everybody on this chat has failed to follow up appropriately at some point or another. And what we can do is we can automate things that we already have data for. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we get, Joe Smith looked at 123 Main Street 8 times. Like, we can literally set the AI up to go after those conversations. Like, wait 5 or 6 hours. Hey, Joe, I found a house that I thought would work perfectly for you. Here it is. And literally have the entire AI take over that conversation to set the appointment. Because I can't tell you how many of those emails I got and never followed up. I mean, countless.
Yeah, and I think one more thing to that too, I'd add, Brandon, is we've talked a lot about, again, this concept of follow-up. And obviously, we're creating a conversational AI to handle those conversations. But we also want to create like an intelligent assistant. And this is something that we've talked a lot about and we're really excited about is to be able to, as these leads sort of come in, as people are responding and engaging with the AI, to be able to categorize them and to be able to understand, hey, this person wants to list their home like as soon as possible, right? Well, realistically, if you're a realtor, you want to know about that like yesterday, right? And so what we are looking to do is have this intelligent assistant. We're going to call the assistant Rue, kind of trying to be cool with TrueAI, but to have Rue remind you and say, hey, look, like this person really wants to sell their home. Here's their number. Give them a call like now, right? And then maybe say, hey, did you follow up with that person yesterday? And so kind of adding this level of, having an assistant to be kind of that fail-safe in essence. So conversational AI can take it to a sense, but to a certain level, but then from there, we have this intelligent assistant who's going to make sure that when it's really important that you get involved, that you're getting involved because everyone's busy, life's crazy. And so we want that kind of that goalkeeper, so to speak, to make sure that nothing gets past us.
Nick, you had something to say, man?
Yeah, I was going to say that, another difference is, we use a lot of automation in our business, whether it be drip campaigns or whether it be a system that recognizes key phrases but doesn't have a memory, right? And so there's been plenty of instances where my 4-year-old is screaming, "Daddy, we're home." Okay, so he might be a guest star on the show.
That's all right, dude.
I was saying that when I was talking to Spencer and Brian earlier today, before we got on this call, your automation could engage a lead and have a conversation, right? And then for some reason or other, that conversation stops, and you as the agent don't realize that conversation happened. And then a few weeks later, your automation will re-engage that person and say, hey, this is so-and-so with Keller Williams. Are you still looking to buy a home? And that person gets frustrated because they're like, they have to repeat themselves, right? There's no memory there.
Yeah.
So the difference between true and fake, again, is having a memory. So if that person said, yes, I'm interested in a house that's around 700,000, 4 beds, 2 baths in XYZ neighborhood. What TrueAI would do would remember that and check back. Hey, Tristan, it's been a few weeks since we chatted. Wanted to check in to see if you're still interested in that house around 700 in XYZ neighborhood with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. But we don't have that right now. And so that's why
the
a lot of
powerful part.
yeah, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I told you a month ago, yes, right?
Yeah, and that's where we lose them.
Because if it was a real person, they would recognize that they had that conversation.
Yeah.
But something that only recognizes keywords and is trained to reach out periodically won't have that memory.
That's true. Let's go to Long and Jesse, and then let's test it out with Nick, Spencer.
Yeah, let's go.
All
Long,
right.
what do you think, man?
Just add a couple of those, right? So for me, fake AI is, I guess, what Spencer taught me, like the matching models, keyword. Based on this keyword, here's a response. Versus true AI is like a learning model. It's based on intent. Because of that, it's constantly tokenizing and training itself to have the right contact. So to really build, we're in a people business. So it's all about building relationships. The only way you can build relationships, have conversations. And I don't care if it's a text, an email, talking, video, whatever it is. So the art of nurturing relationship, we already know, like art, A-R-T, aspiration, research, transactional. So the further you go down the funnel, the more there's an intent. So I love the true AI because based on the aspiration or the research or the transaction or whatever stages they're in, true AI is learning and know the intent, and it can have the right conversation and build relationship, real relationship versus just having a key match, a word match.
I love that, man. That's really good. Jesse, what do you think, man? How do you see this fitting into the real estate world?
I love it. And I love it, by the way, I'm the fake AI representative.
You're the only one standing out here, damn it.
I think it's kind of funny. But you hit on a point, Tristan, a minute ago. Some people, when we're talking our potential buyers or sellers, they don't know we use chatbots. Some of them do, some of them don't. But there's just a feeling that people get when you have an automation that's responding in a non-authentic way. That's really, to me, again, we keep harping on the difference between true AI versus fake AI. Having something that actually learns that can speak like a person, it's not that they're thinking, well, this is a chatbot, I'm not going to respond. Something just feels wrong, and then they just don't respond. Right? Like that's where I think you said we lose them. You agree with that, right, Tristan?
100%, man.
Yeah. So to me, that is the key. It's about conveying that feeling that we care about who we're talking to, and that this machine now learns and can respond in an emotional, empathetic way, as opposed to just being something that's pre-programmed to say this, and then say that, and then say this.
That's true. And that's where, go ahead, Long. You're going to add something.
Yeah, I want to add to what Jess is doing. When you chat box, right away, it's fake AI because it's keyword match. As soon as I ask something, I'll respond hit before I even hit enter. I should be like a little ... Well, I'm thinking about what you're saying. Let me reply, So for me, that's why you feel it's fake AI, because how can you come up with that big long answer that's a whole paragraph? I just hit send.
And I'm not saying don't use those. I mean, for what we've had for the last few years, there are good systems out there, right? There are some good options.
Yeah.
This is the next generation. This is where it's going. Like, this is the future.
Yeah, that's the key, guys. So Spencer, you want to test this out with Nick so we can see how it works, just in case we break it? We don't have to sell it if we break it, okay?
Oh no, here it comes. Yeah, let's give it a try here, Nick.
All right. So I'm gonna pretend that I'm a potential home buyer. I requested information on a house, right?
Yep. And so there'll be a lot of different AI models built into this. But let's go ahead and try and convert Nick here.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it happens. So what am I gonna get, a text message or something?
Yeah. So this is gonna send you an SMS. The way that this starts is it's going to kind of be like we're going to start it as sort of like a drip campaign, if you will, where like depending on where the lead's coming from and stuff like that, it's going to customize. All right, cool. And then this will be the AI portion of this particular flow. I'm going to come in here, Nick. And so we're looking for a specific part of town and a price range.
Okay, so that's the text I got out. I got sent to me. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be the first text that they would get. This is just an example, right?
Correct.
Yeah, this is just an example to show the technology, essentially.
Did we speed it up so it doesn't take forever with the breaks?
Yeah, hurry up, guys. Come on.
All right, so now I'm going to reply and say what I'm looking for, right?
Yeah. Make it simple so we can move forward. And Jesse,
I'm texting. Geez, I can't text and talk at the same time. Okay, I'm texting back. Okay, got it. I just sent. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Looking in person. Cool. So now we've identified in one text message the place and the price, which is great.
And by the way,
instead of asking it in two texts.
The text response from you to me, it's escalated the time frame, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, there will be a longer delay. This is all beta stuff, and that's the easy part. The AI part is the hard stuff. It's the delay. That's just, one line of code kind of thing.
Or a JPEG if I'm designing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can send GIFs too.
Yeah, I love it.
Of Brandon and Spencer dancing.
Okay, so I'm texting back. Okay, now just for people watching, again, the reply from the system will take longer to mimic the actual text process. Okay. Oh, so what's a realistic? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to say when I'm moving. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thanks for the info. Together list of homes was a good time. And so where people see agent's name, that's where you or someone on your team's name will go, right?
Exactly, yeah. So this is going to be like your assistant, Nick. So this is so-and-so your assistant. And then right there it would say like, what's a good time for you to chat with Nick or maybe check out some homes.
Okay. I'm motivated. How
about tomorrow afternoon? Damn, that's fast, Nick.
Yeah.
You're the best online lead ever.
Brandon.
He's the best online lead ever.
Cool. All right, cool. There's our. Yeah. All right, nice.
At least the AI didn't flip me off, Spencer. Okay, it passed.
Hold on a second.
Don't flip it off, Nick.
No, I'm not gonna. I was gonna say something. No, this is a G-rated show.
We haven't tested the middle finger yet. Okay.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No,
Yeah,
actually.
We'll be like, great. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question that you joke about. What if the real person used GIF or some type of not word? How do you recognize that?
I mean, honestly, it's all the same thing, really, in terms of like some of the deep learning stuff. So when you plug this into deep learning models, you have to convert the text all into numbers anyway, which is what you would do if you're trying to make do pattern matching with images as well. So honestly, from a technical standpoint, I know it seems totally different, but it is actually pretty similar. If we run into that use case, we'll worry about it, but I'm not too, I think emojis, that's something that we're going to build in, but beyond that, I'm not too concerned about people sending back GIFs, but it's a good question.
Well, I imagine if they do, good question. If
people will, but
they're all zeros and ones, so we can identify the exact patterns of zeros and ones based on what we find on Google and say, wow, that's funny, or no, that's not good. That's not funny.
Right. If somebody sends you the eggplant emoji, we know what that means. So
there you go, dude. That's it. So now you saw that process that we had with Spencer and Nick. Here's where we take it to another brand new level, and this is what we're working on. This is where this whole conversation started. So we thought, well, imagine our databases, our past clients, and our sphere. These people that we have here that we're just not nurturing in the right way. So if we can set up our past clients on 3 years, or our sphere with like 3 year long drips that they're getting dripped value, and they engage with us, at that point, the artificial intelligence takes over and they'll engage for us. Now we'll watch everything that's happening, but that's what makes our business from where we're at right now to really going in deeper and nurturing all of these people that already like us, but we just forget about.
And I'd like to add this, Tristan. So the way that we communicated 5 years ago, I'm not talking about the process. I'm talking about the actual words and the things that we said is significantly different, correct? I mean, if we look back 5, 10 years ago, it's like, who are those people? We don't even know who they talk. The beauty of that, this is as language changes, this will change with it versus, oh crap, I got to go do a whole new drip campaign because we don't talk that way anymore. So well, it's true. I mean, if you think about it, literally go look at a drip campaign from 10 years ago or 5 years ago. It doesn't even make sense today. So all those people who go crap, and we all know, we all do this. I should really redo all my drips. I'll do that next week. We don't have to do that with this. This is going to learn and it's going to teach as we go forward. And you're not going to have to be a person who's constantly reinventing the wheel. TrueAI is going to do it for you. And I love that.
That's awesome. Jesse, how do you envision using this in your business? Because you're with EXP and you've got multiple teams coming in under you at EXP. How do you envision putting this into play?
I mean, for any agent or any team, it's about leverage. Right? So that's really what you said. We have these databases of past clients. It's about having authentic conversations at scale. If you sent out a message to everybody, and I remember at Christmas time, Tristan, or the holidays, you sent out a message that said a little snowflake emoji. It's one of my favorite touch texts. It was like a snowflake emoji and said, "Happy holidays. Did you go anywhere or stay local?" Right?
Yeah.
Right? Something like that. And your goal was to get engagement. The problem was when you get engagement at scale, now you're literally sitting there responding to each of these people, right? This is my all thumbs gesture for texting. But if you have TrueAI, if you have a Rue responding, so when you send out a top level message and then she can go back and be the one having these deeper responses with people, it really lets you engage. I mean, whatever brokerage you're at, if you're scaling up multiple teams or if you're a single agent, I think it allows you to have those conversations at scale.
Yeah, I agree. And then let's go to Long, because Long, you have an office. You've got like 400 agents, and next year you'll be at like 10,000 agents. So you guys are scaling super fast. How do you envision using this on a broker level and also for your individual team?
Yeah, like Brian mentioned earlier, the worst problem the agent have is follow-up. So we can help them with this. We have 150,000 name in our database, and that number is growing all the time. So can you imagine all these people having conversations with the agents using AI? You know, after 2, 3, 4, 5 conversation, on an average, people move every 8 to 10 years. That means every year, about 8%, 7% of people move. So if you do the math on 150-some thousand names, there's a lot of opportunities that can be had. So this is going to be a game changer.
Yeah, I agree. Spencer, Brandon, either one of you want to tackle the pricing on this? I know before we launch officially in May, it's $100, right? And
Correct.
What does that include, and what does it go up to after?
Go ahead, Spencer.
Yeah, absolutely. So our pre-launch cost is $100, and what that gets you is a price of $1 a lead. And 100 leads for your first month, and then from there on out. So if you have a big team like Long and you sign up early for the pre-launch, you not only get that 100 leads included, but you also, it's $1 per lead over that. Which when you're talking about TrueAI for $1 a lead, I think that really kind of smashes anything else. Go ahead, Tristan.
When you say $1 a lead, what does a lead look like, and how long is it nurtured for that $1?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that comes down to where we're routing them in terms of, we have the AI has different campaigns, right? Whether you're an interested buyer, you're an interested seller, past client sphere, things of that nature, right? And so I think it depends sort of where you put them in, where you put them in. But I mean, so that's sort of where we're starting. After launch, the prices are going to be a little bit more competitive. It's going to go up to around $1.50, $2 a lead, sort of at scale. But yeah, I mean, our vision is to get a lot of people to show some interest in this and pre-sign up, so that way, they can lock themselves in at those really good prices, both starting out in May and then going forward from there on out.
Yeah, and just to add to, as far as competition goes, where chatbots are, obviously there's none of the true AI models out there, but I think starting prices of around $3 a lead. So even once, our price point is extremely competitive, but we also know that, this does get expensive, and we want it to be available to people that, are doing those 4,000 or 5,000 leads a month, because that gets costly. I mean, especially when you're already paying, 10, 20, $30 a lead, to tack on, erroneous costs isn't something we wanted to do. We wanted to make this available for the people that are going to use it. And frankly, we're the ones that built it, and we all work in real estate, so we know what those costs look like.
Awesome, guys. Anything you want to add in closing here? We'll be doing this throughout the week. This way, anyone that has any questions or people that miss it.
There's a question actually on the live stream.
Oh, sure.
Mark Benson. What up, Mark?
What's
See you
up,
in a couple
Mark?
days. What might happen if the consumer uses their phone and actually calls the agent who hasn't seen any of the chat while they've been with another client? What's the agent's best response? That's actually a really good question. So here's the thing. TrueAI is technically acting as your assistant, right? So when they're calling you and they're asking you the questions and you haven't seen the interaction, you can go that route. That's what I would do. You know, oh, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry. I believe you were talking with my assistant. I was out on an appointment. If you'd like, I can check the conversation and call you back so you don't have to repeat yourself, or we can just have a conversation right now, you know?
And at the end of the day, those conversations will get sent to your phone too. So this is all going to be sent out through your own personal.
Oh, right. What he was saying was like if he's on an appointment and he hasn't been able to, and he hasn't seen that, and then the phone rings and he's able to pick it up, right? I would just default to that, right? So
that's good. Yeah, that's a good answer, Nick. I'd probably go the same route. Maybe if I'm going to have separate tags like Sphere, online leads, past clients. Maybe my past clients I keep and say, okay, maybe it's me. And before I answer any call, because I know who's coming, I'm going to read any text thread, right? I want to make sure. So I think we could differentiate later on that too. We have another question. What's the software? It's called TrueAI. Spencer, what's that website? It's true-ai.io?
Correct. Yep.
Could you have made that even more complicated than that? I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Well, if someone wants to
I'm joking with you.
Buy TrueAI.com for $1 million, that would be great. But we're going to spend that money on the software, not on the domain name. So I hope everyone appreciates that.
Fake AI, Tristan, because true AI would know that.
That's right, dude. I don't know what I asked. All right, Jay Aluski. Jay, I don't know. I think I fucked up your name. I'm sorry. What if they don't answer bot questions and they just ask something else, Spencer? Like they go
Great. Yeah, that's a great question. And that actually is what we're most proud of, what we're going to build here. Obviously, like we love the ability to kind of qualify and try to get down to the nitty gritty, but we're going to build in, Brandon was describing with all the data and what he called intents. We're going to build in literally by the time we're done with this, it's going to be thousands of intents, right? So if, we say, hey, what price range or location, they say, hey, look, like can I set up a time to chat, right? Or, they might say something like, hey, now's not good. Can we talk next week? Or, or even just like, hey, F off, things like that. Like we're going to have intents for all of that. And we're going to know how to deal with it. So that's one of the cool things you can do with the natural language understanding as well. We're not matching based on keywords. We're not trying to take people down a path. Obviously, it's better. Like if you're on the phone with someone, you're trying to qualify them as a lead. Of course, you're going to try and take them down a path. But we want to be like any other, like as adaptable as any human would be on the phone or whatever. So that way, if someone asks something outside of that scope, we're more than prepared to handle it. And the cool thing is like our models learn really quick. So if someone is asking a question that we're not prepared to handle, just something weird and obscure, our models are going to figure out how to handle that in a matter of, hours to like a day. So it's quick, it's nimble, it's going to learn on the job. So if it doesn't handle something appropriately, the goal would be the next day it would, if that ever came up again.
And just to add to what we're doing is I know Spencer kind of mentioned the assistant part of this, but let's for instance say that we get a lead and they say, oh, I just had a bankruptcy a year ago. Well, okay, I have bankruptcy a year ago. What we can do is we can start to have that conversation. Well, unfortunately, most lenders won't loan outside of a 2-year bankruptcy. Or hey, I have bad credit. Then the AI can go ahead and be like, oh, great. Well, we actually have a credit repair person. We'd love to set them up with you, and I can follow up to help you get back on track so that we can buy a house in 3 to 6 months. And so all of these things are just taking it a step further, more so than anything else out there is right now.
I love it, guys. Well, anything you guys want to add? Nick, Brian, Long, Jesse, anybody?
I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I just want to say this. If you think this isn't an opportunity, you're wrong. this is a huge opportunity. If we look back, say 5 years ago, when there was a company, it wasn't even 5 years ago, 3 years ago, started doing even the lower level version of this. This is next level. And I promise you, if you don't sign up for the $100 deal, you're going to regret it. And I don't have a dog in this hunt. I don't own any of this. I'm not making any money off it. I just want to let people realize this is the next thing that's going to happen. And you're going to beg us to pay $2 a lead a year from now. And not me, but you're going to do that. So I promise you, if you're even thinking about this, is a huge opportunity. So don't miss it.
I love that.
Love
That's
it.
for sure. Anything else, guys? Good? We're good? How's
Oh,
that
man, I'm
going?
excited. Let's get it going.
Definitely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, man. We'll jump back again in a couple of days. Thanks for being on.
Appreciate it, Tristan. Have a
Bye,
good one.
fake AI, Jesse.
Bye, guys.
Fake IHS.
You guys.